What is up, and I welcome each and every one of you back to a brand new Civ 6 or Civilization 6 video. Hope you're all having fantastic days, and if not, I hope I can make your day just a little bit better. Today we're going to be talking about the top, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. My 7 wish list things, I guess, for Civilization 7. Obviously, this is looking like the end of Civ 6, and it's going to be some tears. It's just going to be some last wanking of the meats before saying goodbye to Civ 6 forever. But yeah, there are some definite things that you could improve on going into Civ 7. This will be different from my ways to improve Civ 6 videos in the fact that I have more freedom when it comes to this list because, I could say, for example, change the graphics or change the leaders or blah, 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 whereas that wasn't really realistic for revamping Civ 6. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The second thing I would like to see in Civ 7 is going back to the old style graphics. Now, the graphics for Civ 5, in my opinion, are better than the ones in Civ 6, although Civ 6's graphics have grown on me. I really don't know what to expect for Civ 7, if I'm being completely honest. It's not only a few years down the pipeline, but Civ 6, it seems they've tried to make Civilization more casual, I guess, instead of like what it was in Civ 5, which is completely fine. It's still a great game for sure. I'm not dissing Civ 6 or anything, but me personally, I would love to have the Civ 5 graphics back, or like more of an old style type of graphics. I don't know, maybe you could sort of like find a middle ground or something. I'm not a graphic artist, but yeah. Having Civ 6 graphics isn't the worst thing in the world, though. They have grown on me. Although it does seem like Firaxis always changes the graphics they have every year. Although they are making a more casual game, it seems like, so they might want to keep this sort of graphic art style, the goofy kind of art style for Civ 7. Really don't know what to expect, but hey, if it was up to me, just going back to the old-time graphics. And really quick, before we get right back into the video, let me know what changes you want to see for Civ 7. It could be anything. It could be a new Civ. It could be a new feature. Let me know down below in the comments. Number 3, finally we're getting into the meat of the video, the sausage of the hot dog, the toppings on the pizza. We have multiple leaders for every major Civ with differing playstyles. Now, what I think they should do for Civ 6, we'll get into that in a minute, but I think when they first release Civ 6, they should only put in, not only put in, but put in Civs that are well known enough to have 2 famous leaders. Now, what I mean by that is, instead, to make Civ such a more interesting experience, in my opinion, start off with the original 20 civs and have 2 leaders for each civilization. And instead of like in Civ 6 where they sort of kind of play the same, make it so that both leaders play completely differently. Like, for example, for England, you could have Victoria and maybe I don't know, maybe King Henry. Victoria's more focused on commerce and like navy and cross-culture trading, and somebody like King Henry is more focused on land combat and conquering enemies. So like, for example, you could have the longbowman and bonus towards, I don't know, open plains and against knights or something, and then Victoria could have bonus towards exploration, trade route golds, make them like 2 completely different play styles. And you could do the same thing, right? For France, you could have Napoleon for domination, and then maybe you could bring in a cultural leader for culture. If you could do that with not every civ, but if you could do that for the main runs, Arabia, Rome, Byzantium, France, England, China, Mongolia, India, that would be a lot better. Pretty much make it like India is right now. You have Chandragupta, who can dominate militarily, and Gandhi, who's more of a religious type guy. But yeah, let's move on to the next point. Next up is something Civ fans have been clamoring since pretty much the beginning of time. Early on, when Queen Victoria was roaming around in the Jurassic era, she was actually the first Civ player of all time, and she said, like the rest of us, we need a better interactive late game. We need a more interactive late game. The way Civ works, and it's partly because of the way they design difficulty. We'll get into difficulty, like, literally the next point. But late game is such a slog. Like, I'm playing the Inca right now, which you should definitely go check out, by the way. That's the last video I've posted. Like, the Inca, I've already won the game, and it's turn 120. I have 15 cities, so much, number 1 in science, so much food and production, multiple double-digit population cities by turn 120, and it's game over. The AI has not a chance in hell of catching up to me. I could win whatever victory type I chose at the moment. And this is the problem in Civ. The late game is so uninteractive, whether it be a culture, science victory. The only one that has you really focusing on a lot of stuff is the domination victory. Now, Again, I think the best way for you to do this is to revamp science and culture victories and religious victories. Make it so that in a science victory, you can't build all the spaceship parts yourself. You have to go in, declare war on somebody, steal those spaceship parts forcefully, and bring them back to your empire. Or you could use culture to get that. Use culture if you have if you have the, what's it called again, if you're, the thing that says culture victory imminent, if you have tourism completely over one civilization, you could then end up getting that spaceship part for free. So you'd have to utilize either domination or tourism in order to get the last spaceship part you need from another civ. And conversely, with a culture victory, you could have, maybe you have a 200% spread towards tourism if you completely eliminate a civilization, and the others you have like a 200% tourism bonus towards you or something like that. Or maybe make it so that if you have to take at least one enemy city and you get a double tourism bonus against them. Make it so that there's an incentive to prepare for late game war at the same time you're preparing for culture, and so that in order for you to win the game in general, you have to go to war, you have to get enough science. Maybe if you have high science, you get more culture, or even a domination victory, like you need culture in order to declare war on a culturally superior foe or something like that, so you need a baseline of culture. Have it so that you need, or maybe you need a big economy for domination. There's a lot of things I could spitball, but at the end of the day, have it so that we need, instead of just beelining only culture or beelining only science or only units, you have to have a nice balance and push towards one more than the other, instead of just completely focusing on one the entire game. That's just my idea. And for our next tip, this kind of ties in with the last tip, but revamp the difficulty when it comes to Civ 6 AI. Now, what I mean by that is the way difficulty works is in the early game, AI gets bonuses. They get more units, they get more science, they get more culture. And again, deity gets so easy if you know how to play the early game. Like, I could literally play the first 50 turns, give it to somebody who's never played deity in their life, like somebody who plays on prince or king difficulty, and they'd be able to easily win the game. It's just, if you know, they just get bonuses that help them early on. Military units, free technologies, more faith or culture or something like that. I think the best way to do it is to give them bonuses for each era. I'm not going to say, like in an ideal world, obviously, you'd make the AI smart, right? It'd be like chess AI or something. But in a game like Civ, where there's a lot of different stuff going on at the same time, really isn't possible with the technology we have right now. Earth 2 is probably a little bit more likely than getting a competent AI going, but what I think they could do is maybe in the ancient era they have their boosts, and then medieval era they have extra boosts. Like when the world enters the medieval era, they get like 5 Eurekas, 5 inspirations, 5 free military units, and an extra free settler or something like that, or like a free wonder of their choice or something. And then Renaissance era, they get the same. Industrial era, the same. And like you could have difficulties above deity, for example, or maybe you could have this in every single difficulty mode. Like for example, king, you get a few bonuses per era. Emperor, you get a few more, you know what I mean? Just every difficulty up, you get more bonuses. I feel like this helps make late game such less of a slog, because again, I'm doing the Inca series right now, and I've literally already won the game by turn 120. Absolute masterpiece, the most disgusting video you'll ever see. In fact, I do have a warrant out for my arrest right now for absolutely destroying the AI. Just, you definitely hate to see it. This channel is definitely not made for kids. But yeah, in all honesty, more difficult AI, and I think you could do that by adding in bonuses for each era. If you could do that, I feel like it would be fine. Makes the AI a lot harder for sure, and that's all I have to say about this point. 5 seconds before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. Let's get right back into the video. And next up, we have a more interactive religious victory. Now, religious victory in Civ 6 is so bland, that you might as well go for it. The only thing more bland than a religious victory, in my opinion, is a diplomatic and score victory. Although those victories are designed to be like super late game focused, a religious victory is just spam out as much faith as possible, and whoever has the bigger stick in faith in this case wins. I feel like you could do different things, maybe have different events or something, maybe have like a golden age, a renaissance, stuff that would help you when it comes to a religious victory. Make it more interactive, add in a few more mechanics, make it a lot better. Again, they only added Civilization 6 they only added religious victory back to Civ during like Civ 5's Gods and King expansion. Wasn't that long. I think, yeah, I don't know, make Religious Victory more interactive, I guess. That's all I really have to say for this point. And last but certainly not least is probably more of an opinion I share than anybody else due to me being a content creator, but I feel like it would help everyone out. Instead of having these big expansions like Gods and Kings, Brave New World, Before the Sword, Gathering Storm, Rise and Fall, all those, why not keep the new Frontier Pass model for every update? It takes Firaxis in general, it takes them like a year, 2 years essentially to come out with an update, and that's about the time it took for them to roll out the changes for the new Frontier Pass. Why not have expansion packs and then roll stuff out slowly every single month, right? Like add in new mechanics one month, a new civ another, new civs every month probably, add in new mechanics some month, add in new wonders another month, stuff like that. I feel like that would be good because A, it would keep the game completely fresh. B, there wouldn't be so much of an information overload, I guess, because whenever you add an expansion with like 10 different civs, 20 great people, 4 natural wonders, 33 different world wonders, 54 different reasons to absolutely murder whoever came up with barbarians and barbarians clans, raging barbarians modes, why not have them slowly come by so that A, and this is a selfish reason, content creators like me can find more content to make about Civ, and B, so that like it just keeps staying fresh, you keep coming back to the game, and I think it's definitely more helpful towards content creators. I'm not going to mask anything, but I feel like it just would be better for even the average Joe, instead of having like all this information all in at once, have it all come up a little bit more, maybe take advice, get some updates in there to fix some civs that are maybe too strong, and yeah, that is pretty much all I'm going to say. It's going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you have enjoyed, obviously. If you haven't enjoyed, I have no idea why you've made it to the outro, quite honestly. But yeah, we should be streaming right now at about 11:30 to 12-ish at twitch.tv/thecivlifer1. In all likelihood, I am also streaming right now on YouTube, but I might not be. And I realize this video's come out at like 2 o'clock, so you guys could probably only catch the last hour of the stream. But yeah, without further ado, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.